Professor Julian, we are attempting the impossible. He mentioned Tobago is going to attempt the impossible. You might be attempting the impossible, and you have some models. I'd like you to take a couple extracts from what you said, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. He lectured at me at university. You wouldn't say what year. He was a decent lecturer, by the way. A very good one, actually. Achieving the impossible also means you need to be extremely unreasonable, right? And understand what unreasonable means. And the reason I'm saying that is what the NGC was charted to do was something that was, some people deem impossible. But it's not really impossible, right? We just have to be unreasonable. And we intend to be unreasonable, and we have been so far. So anyway, my presentation really is this much, right? You want to keep it along the topic of branding Tobago, green, safe, and serene. But I'll get some slides for you guys for content, but I'll be departing from it very often. We'll talk a little bit about the CNG plan for Trinidad and Tobago very quickly, the relevance for Trinidad and Tobago, a worldview sort of CNG, and the benefits of switching to CNG. And I left out the rest of it, but the benefits of switching to an alternative energy paradigm is really what Tobago should be thinking about. CNG is one thing. Okay, you could have an electric car, but if the electric car is being charged by dirty energy, and in moving 1 kilometer with an electric car, you use more natural gas in power generation than it was if you use it in CNG. What should your choice be? You know, you have to be very careful about plucking solutions, jump into solutions by making certain conclusions. Yeah, like that. Right? Can CNG work in Tobago? Just talk a little bit about that. Recommendations for a vehicle mix in Tobago, we'll just take a little jaunt into that. Talk about funding and grants. And we'll just kind of cruise off with the Tobago tourism product. All right? Very quickly, somebody went to cabinet during the last 5 years and said, look, we need to spend about $2 billion to get meaningful CNG penetration in Trinidad and Tobago. And then the decision maker said, okay, that's plenty of money. Take 500 million or thereabouts, or we'll approve up to 500 million and make a success of it, and then we'll determine the rest. Fair enough, right? Because it's a lot of money we're talking about. But let's put this in context. I know we're talking here about environment, but if you could achieve an environmental target, at the same time you're going to achieve an economic improvement, it is no longer impossible, right? You all agree? It's no longer impossible, it's very probable. But then you have to look now at the next part of it, behavior change. Here what, ladies and gentlemen, CNG, you have to give up space in your trunk. Plain and simple, right? But remember, there's environment and there's economics, right? So what you want? You want a little space. Either you get space in your wallet, or you give up space in your trunk. It's up to you. Choices to make. Well, that's the subsidy picture. I think we've all heard this many, many times, blah, 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 blah. We want to start saving, we make an investment to cut back on this kind of cost. The government just actually reduced the subsidy in Trinidad and Tobago by about $300 or so million a year by a simple movement in 2 fuel prices, right? And with the CNG issue, it's either government putting up any subsidy or the public picking up the real cost of fuel. But wherever you move the price, there's a relevance for CNG. In one case, if you're in a highly subsidized environment, the benefit of going to CNG is kind of the burden is on the state. You do something about it. And as you move the price into a real zone, it comes to you, well, I need to switch to CNG because you know what, where did somebody complain to me the other day? Secretariat all it caused this thing to go up to $100 to charge me to fill my tank. I said, well, if you go right St. Lucia, it's about $600 or something dollars, right? And you complaining? Anyway. Trinity again, right? And Tobago, eh? All right, so we are moving actively, very, very progressively. The current administration, the new administration of government, endorsed, the first thing they did during the budget is they endorsed the CNG program, and my orders are, I'm going to say marching orders, sorry. My orders are just get more aggressive on the marketing side of it, which we can do now because we have certain elements that were approved recently between September and October, licenses and so on for people to do conversions and licenses for the new stations. We don't license, we execute, we're an executing agency. We influence the licensing, yes, but we execute. We have a steady supply of natural gas. People say natural gas finishing, blah, 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 blah. In Trinidad and Tobago, which is going to finish first, natural gas or oil? Nobody complaining about the gasoline will run out. You don't realize that? Mindset, it's all about mindset. In any event, for our first phase, this 500 million program, that is going to be approximately, how much percent? That's 10 out of 4,000. That's the consumption of gas to the total production. 10 units out of 4,000. Right? That makes a big deal? That is nothing. The savings in efficiency by TNTech alone at one plant, power generation plant, will give us that gas. A little food for thought. That is efficiency. Greenness again. Keeping it within the topic. All right, of all the hydrocarbons, the cleanest hydrocarbon is natural gas to burn. The cleanest by nature is natural gas. It is cleaner burning than LPG, which in turn is cleaner burning than gasoline, which in turn is cleaner burning than kerosene, then diesel, fuel oil, and so on. It is cleaner. You switch to CNG and you had a diesel vehicle or a gasoline vehicle, you have about a 30% improvement in particulates and emissions. That is, no, forgive the term BS, but that is the simple reality of it. Natural gas blends very well with oxygen and in the air, and it combusts the best way you can. You have to take liquid fuels, atomize it to get it to mix with air to burn in your cars. And I'll give you the story here very quickly. You all know last year that we had, well, earlier this year, PTSC got 10% of its fleet with CNG buses, right? Everybody, that was news. The people who drive the buses, some of them actually own maxi taxis. And what happened is that they realized, wait a minute, this thing could actually drive. The biggest problem I think I have right now, according to the general manager at PTSC, is they do have a problem with the CNG buses. And the problem is that there are a lot of warning letters for speeding. Because they do drive slow. You all didn't know that before. You didn't, in the back of your mind is a dead vehicle, right? It's an engine, it's a fast engine, it works like a gasoline type engine, it's very responsive. So they put the GPS devices and they just print in warning letters all the time. Anyway, and because of that behavior, people, the maxi taxi guys jump over and say, hey, NGC, we want some buses and things, CNG buses. Then we go to China, they went to China to check it out. They see a line, they're happy with it, they say, let me bring buses. So they want to bring buses for that. So there's a bit of a behavior change, and it's so, and the remarkable thing for the users of the bus route is we could actually now drive behind a PTSC bus. If anybody of you guys know, you know that, right? You're breaking the law, you're not supposed to be on the bus route. Oh, okay. Just checking on this lady here, right? So in any way, they started using now those buses. They decide, PTSC decide, let's have these through the Saddle Road route, through Diego Martin, and the very congested areas with the CNG buses. And that's very, very important, right? Or it's $1 a liter, so of course that must be affordable, right? It's subsidized too. It's subsidized like diesel, it's subsidized like super. Premium is subsidized, but the way it is right now, it's good, right? But the subsidy on CNG for the real price of it is lower than all of them. All right, so if I start that, I want to give away the secret, but it's not really a secret. At $2, it is making a real profit. It's selling CNG to the public at a price that nobody in Point Lisas could compete with to buy natural gas. Okay? So just for a little food for thought. We have it for 30 years, and it's been stillborn. Why? Because we've allowed the liquid fuels to compete with it. We've not allowed the full competition. They peaked at about 4,500 users, it dropped to 1,500, and it's been increasing. Right now it's been increasing, right? Of course, after the price increase, we've been getting the calls. More cars, people want more cars, they put in their orders. But we need to increase by orders of magnitude to meet our plan. So we need to have a paradigm shift, we have to have game changers as part of the business. And we would love if Tobago could be part of that game changer, but that's for you to decide, not only for us. The gas now has an odor in it, so if there's a leak, you smell it. Some people complain we don't have enough stations in Trinidad and Tobago. Almost 10% of the gas station network in Trinidad and Tobago already has CNG. We have about 130 stations in Trinidad and Tobago that work in gas stations in Trinidad and Tobago, and we have 12 of them with CNG already. Without me, and I'm going to start opening in February. The equipment arrives at the end of December, goes installed, we test everything, we check it. We're going to open 2 stations in February and 2 more in March. That's 4 stations. So that's 4 plus 12, that's 16 stations. In Tobago, somebody pointing at Tobago, let me reach you now. You driving on the bus with and you pointing at people and pointing in the face? Tobago again, yes. When you have CNG, you also could drive longer, further. Most people would think about it. We have a mono-fuel culture because that's all we've been used to. I had somebody complain and say, why? It had no station here. And I watch you guys say, I could take this car, and if I could have drive on this here, I'd reach Antigua. Because why? The driving range on my car is 1,300 kilometers. Of course, only 300 with the CNG, but 1,000 with the gas. Right, but you have 2 fuels. Somebody said, I need to fill up every day. I said, Jesus Christ, all the Trinidad and Tobagonians could complain. Why are you complaining so? That's not the reality, you're complaining too much. You can run out of CNG during the week and fill up on a weekend. You fill up 2 fuels on a weekend, you drive one, you finish it. Right, and when convenient, you fill. Right, so now the people that have only CNG in their cars and no other fuel, they are the only ones you could really listen to and say they have a real complaint. There's like PTSD with their buses, right? So they are special cases. If the maxis go with only CNG, they are special cases. WASA is going to bring in quite about a few hundred vehicles in 2 pieces during the first quarter and second quarter of next year. They may have some of them at 100% CNG. They are special cases. And we treat these special cases specially. Well, I'm sorry, I just put this again to make a point. Sorry, it's actually a mistake. This is not a football match. This is the number of cars right now in the market in the world for so many different countries, right? These cars are in the millions. They have millions of these cars. They have about at least 200 models of CNG vehicles worldwide that you could buy and bring, right? Okay, you're driving a Audi, whatever they call it, right? You mightn't get a version in Trinidad and Tobago right now because nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for enough of it to come in. Answer is bringing down now the Honda model, the Honda City. They're bringing them down by in the hundreds, right? Because they're moving, and it's a very economical vehicle. So we've put for comparison a couple of the like the US there for just 250,000 vehicles. Even though they're so big, and I hear a lot of them, hear them talking about it a lot. They still have a lot of. They like big. They like large. CNG is associated with responsible, environmental friendly, and so on. You have a gas guzzling Prado. I'm not knocking any brands here, right? And you want to put CNG in that. That's kind of like, you miss the point. But people need choices, and we understand that. But if you really want to have CNG, you're supposed to have a small sedan or a medium-sized sedan with CNG, and you're making a difference. Okay? Well, at the pump, these are the prices. You all know these prices. And, well, in the vehicle market, that's traffic I came through this morning. You see the little picture? I was up at 4 a.m. this morning to reach Tobago for my discussion at 11 o'clock. All right? Because I had to pass the traffic. I'm from San Fernando going up to reach to the airport. All right? I reached to the airport. I was 5 minutes late. I lose my flight. I end up coming across with the good professor here who were talking on the way. That was good, actually. But that's the traffic in Trinidad and Tobago. And I understand now they have traffic, a lot of traffic in Tobago as well, right? We had too much of damn cars out there. How we used to manage before? With the same amount of people and the same rules. How did we manage before? Anybody ever try to figure that out? Yeah, we justify our positions. Quick thing here, we put it in the supply first, and then we're ramping up the demands, but we also need to have infrastructure in place. Part of the company's strategy is to have private sector in on this in a significant way. Now, we could set up a conversion shop and have state-sponsored conversions, state-only gas stations and so on. They want us to do that. We could do that. The problem with that is that it becomes controlled sustenance as opposed to market sustenance. All right, so we are employing, we will have some of it, a little bit of it, to just make sure we're inside of it, but by far and large, we are trying to embrace the private sector in this, and private sector has come up. All they want is to feel confident that this thing is not going to wax and wane with administration, wax and wane with certain things. And we have the movements. We see the commitments have been made, the stations are coming, the equipment has been bought, it's on its way. Over the space of the next 18 months, equipment for 24 gas stations coming in a steady stream over the next 18 months, going to gas stations. So the gas stations don't have to rush and prepare. NP have spaces for our equipment, Uniped has spaces for our equipment, and we actually have some areas for ourselves, right? Where it's not practical for a gas station network owner to own and operate a station. But we will put it to ensure that there is sufficient distribution in some of the leaner areas where we have gas infrastructure in NGC group to be able to put a station. And that's very important, everybody. We can't put a station just in Charlottesville, right? They have no gas line there yet, right? When they have a gas line, then they can start doing those things. So what you have to do is to find ways to make that happen. I have it as second. You have it at what, number 4, Prof? Oh, thank you. Yeah. Just for information, so if you want Tobago to line up with that, it's up to all you. Right? Most emissions come from the industrially dirty and across by Trinidad, so if you're taking some of it, yes, you have to take it differently. The CNG is the cleanest fuel option we have. Very important, CNG is the only technology apart from biofuels if you want to lower your carbon footprint in an existing vehicle. I know there's a long sentence without a comma, but you'll understand what I'm trying to say, right? I'll leave in that point for you all. So we can migrate to CNG, determine how much you want to do, how you want to do it. We will decide and assist with the supply. That's always in plan. We already have natural gas on shore and Cove. I had the distinctive pleasure of being the NGC executive for the commissioning of that plant to provide TNTEC and Tobago with gas supply. We have already engaged, since January of this year, been engaging the THA and NP with selecting land for a permanent fixed CNG station close to our Cove Estate site. We have dispatched from Italy 2 mobile refueling units, i.e. 2 set of CNG tank wagons on its way. It's on the sea, gonna arrive in maybe a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks to Trinidad. We have another 3 that's gonna be coming about a month or so afterwards to Trinidad and Tobago. The plan with our CNG program is while we build in the gas stations and people start moving on it, we will be able to fill the gap with mobile systems. Mobile systems would not be a permanent solution. It's expensive to operate it, and the price of CNG is controlled by the state. It's $1 after all, right, a liter. But only remember this, I think this made big news, right? They brought a CNG bus from Trinidad, and I think everybody, well, I understand everybody was impressed. Unless I hear otherwise, I understand people were impressed. I wasn't there. I was engaged otherwise. But they called me hot and sweaty and smiling. You can hear a smile over a phone when somebody talking. Now, we know WASA, PTSA is about 35 or so buses in Tobago. They're going to order further 35 CNG buses this year. The discussion I had recently with the general manager of PTSA is that there will be an allotment for Tobago. all right? And this could come as soon as, I think, at the end of the second or somewhere second or the third quarter of this year. We have about 60 maxis. WASA might be interested, and this is just a cursory discussion with some of their senior people, in if there's a CNG station in Tobago and they are changing all their fleets, including the water trucks to CNG, that there could be possibilities for deployment in Tobago. Now you all realize we're tackling here entities that we have some measure of control over, even though I put the Maxi Taxi Association there, yes, because they are pro CNG. I mean, but it's going to rely now on the membership, what they want to do. Passenger cars and other transient vehicles, that is transient vehicles from Trinidad and Tobago, there will be one hurdle to cross with the transportation on ferries of filled CNG vehicles, and somebody will have to deal with that. That's obvious, we're going to have to deal with that. But we brought across the bus full, by the way. Right? These are some of the figures we have. It will be good to have a certain amount of changeover on this. This represents for us, if tomorrow all of Tobago could be CNG, this means that the CNG company could have close to about $50 million annually in CNG sales. That's a good number, by the way, just for information. We could make that work, right? It is very impractical to expect all of Tobago to be converted to CNG. You look at that percentage. In aggressive societies, Argentina, it could be like up to 50% in some of the states, and Argentina is one of the most aggressive locations. It might be more pragmatic to look at 10 to 20% conversion rates, just as a kind of a benchmark. You have about 25,000 vehicles, so we're looking at about maybe 2,500 to 5,000 vehicles. That's a good target. And as we understand, about 600 cars a year come into Trinidad and Tobago. So that's the kind of conversion requirement here. You probably need about somebody that could convert 60 to 100 cars a year as a converter in Trinidad and Tobago, in Tobago, sorry. One of our stations will handle this amount of cars, 1,500 to 2,000 cars. That's the market, probably about 500 to 800 fills a day. I mentioned it. Now the only issue we have is there's only one gas line supplying Tobago right now. It's highly unlikely that the gas line will go down. But if you have a market in Tobago that is by fuel, if you have an intermittent supply of CNG for whatever valid reason, that actually is tenable to some extent. If you have a mono-fuel CNG vehicle population that's significant, then you're going to be challenged. Okay? Well, these are the companies that are licensed right now in Trinidad and Tobago, but I don't know how many operate in Tobago. There's room for a Tobago converter once the market is there. And we recommend biofuels. I'm gonna fly through the rest of the slides, but just a very important point here. Okay, follow me with this. For those who want to know about the numbers, right? Not just the carbon load, right? Right now, if you have a typical car, right, your annual fuel bill, this is a typical car, is about 15,000 kilometers. This is in Trinidad. In Tobago, it might be more, right? No. Your fuel bill, at the old price of Super was about $6,700. At the new price is $7,000, so your fuel bill gone up $1,000. If you were using CNG at the old price, you would have been saving $4,200 a year. At the new price, you are now saving, if you were using CNG religiously, $5,200 a year. That's the average person driving. Right? A truck will be saving, if you were driving a typical diesel truck, right? You could actually be saving $14,400 a year on that one truck. Now let's just give you something about conversions. A typical car, if it's running on gasoline, the conversion price could be anywhere between $10,000 and $12,000. And it's not like a long time, you know, when you have to deal with carburetor and all kinds of fuel injectors, so they actually work well, right? We drive the Honda City. The Honda City you can't tell the difference in the power. There's a Mercedes that we're driving right now, straight from Germany, made with gasoline and CNG, and is an existing gasoline engine. You can't tell the difference. So the kind of prices we're talking about here, right now, it is very, very feasible for somebody to get a payback of 2 years in Trinidad and Tobago without any incentive, just using CNG. Right? So that's just some numbers to show you guys. They have different ways of funding. The Caribbean Development Bank, for example, some of these other multilaterals lend to entities and national entities. They have discussions going on right now with some of the state organizations. They're even talking to us with respect to the CNG program. The NGC CNG, you all heard about the grant that we offered for the maxi taxis. We're not giving money away, it's an investment for us. That is paying back for us, because guess, everybody have one of these, right? You could buy it for next to nothing from TSTT, some of them. Well, this is a wrong example, right? You go away and you buy one of the network phones, you get it cheap. But then they're making the money back. Guess what they're making the money back? You're paying for something, you're paying for time. The commodity is the time. So whenever you see a grant, or the NGC CNG is given a grant, we're making an investment for somebody to buy gas. Guess who they're buying gas from? Right? So we're making back, we're not giving away money. I have to mention this too many times. We're not giving away money. Somebody will stand up and talk and say we're giving away money. No. It's an investment. Right? They have existing incentives from the government, and they are being renewed right now. The public could access that. And these are those investments. You buy a CNG vehicle straight from the manufacturer, you pay no motor vehicle tax, you have no VAT, and if you're doing a conversion, you're getting back $2,500 if you're paying tax. If you're not paying tax, you have to pay for the whole conversion. And there's warranty allowance for people that are doing the work. Right. These are the attributes of CNG that we have. I just want to put this to Tobago audience. CNG is better, money-wise. It is the cleanest option we have right now in Trinidad and Tobago. Practical. It's green and it is safe. So we're going to get your 3 tagline items here, right? Clean, safe, and green. How you market it as a tourism product is going to be entirely up to you. You have to get a significant mix of CNG for this to make a difference. But the outlying remote areas will be challenged in the beginning until we have some sort of supply paradigm for it. But in a biofuel culture, that is still sustainable. And these are just some points that we want to do here on the environmental benefits.